I must admit, I feel like a most exotic animal today between. And I can also see a sort of question tags in your eyes, and I must ask myself also why I'm here today. How I can ever explain or present the overused term of biodiversity to IT experts. I realized I don't understand your business at all. But I know that it is important. There is many of businesses, industries, services, products, and other entities that drive the global economy, right? Can you imagine one of them just stopped work? Would that affect your business? The natural world has also many plants, animals, ecosystems. The number of forms, colors, strategies is fascinating. We people are just one part of it. And I never met anyone saying, I don't like nature. I don't like to walk in the woods. I don't like listening to the bird songs. Because we have that deep in our DNA. And I think we have all experienced how being in the natural environment help us feel good. We have a strong connection with nature, but not all of us admit it. And I think that's also connected to the misunderstood role of the zoos in this world. You know, Brno has a zoo, and zoo is not a menagerie, nor an amusement park. It can and should bring wonder and answers to questions, and sometimes even some solutions. Zoos are now more scientific institutions involved in the global conservation processes. You've probably heard about United Nations, but maybe not about International Union for Conservation of Nature. IUCN provides its extensive scientific expertise on environmental and biodiversity issues. And IUCN highlighted the role of the zoos in species survival on this planet in its recent position statement. World Association of Zoos and Aquaria represents a global community of zoological facilities united for the care and conservation of living fauna and flora. European Association of Zoos and Aquaria brings together more than 400 zoos, aquaria, and other organizations working together to make a difference for wildlife and communities too. Each member of EASA must comply with its high codes and standards. So does Brno Zoo. Maybe some of us came here from far away and just don't know what the hell is Brno. I must say and assure you, Brno is the second largest city in the Czech Republic with 400,000 inhabitants. And it does has a zoo with 70 years history. We keep in our care more than 2,000 animals of different species from all over the world. And we have about 300,000 visitors per year. And you know what? That species conservation occurs through different levels. Or like ex situ conservation, it means breeding the species outside of its original occurrence place. Or in situ, which means protecting the natural habitat of the species. And hoopoe. It sounds like a shout of hip hip hooray for many of you. But it's an exotic looking bird that is the size of a thrush, which is highly endangered in Czech Republic. Brno project helps to protect not only its original and so much needed food sites, but also helps hoopos to reproduce, providing them suitable nesting boxes. And we have succeeded quite a lot. Since 2017, we hatched 100 chicks of hoopos, which really enriched the almost non-existent population locally. Very similar way, the Brno Zoo protects also ground squirrel, once very common species, even set as pest in past, now also almost on the brink of extinction. Another species is a little owl, and other species the projects of Brno Zoo have protected is Manchurian crane and stellar eagle, both far eastern species. The two projects had to be suspended because of the war in Ukraine. Turtles. You know, turtles have existed on the earth for more than 250 million years. 70% of turtle species is critically endangered. And as a part of our Kura Kura, or Save the Turtle project, in Brno Zoo, we supported the construction of the rescue center in Indonesia, and we continue to support the local activities to protect this rare sea turtle species. Every visitor to the zoo contributes to these programs as a part of the initiative that brings 3 crowns from each ticket bought to enter the zoo. And, you know, we just help them, all the endangered species, to return to the place they belong. Have you ever heard about Antiguan racer? I guess not. It's harmless brown, gray snake, which only can be found in Eastern Caribbean, and it belongs between the rarest snake in the world. For many people, reptiles or insects are not as charismatic as the furry or feathered animals. And you know, to love, and to protect are the basic principles to care for the nature, where the knowledge means understanding the ecosystems and species. The love is an emotional relationship with nature leading to its appreciation. And the protection is practical action aimed at preserving natural balance and biodiversity for future generations. We probably can get many people to like snakes, right? Even though every 5th reptile species on this planet is threatened by extinction, actually. But that's why we have so-called umbrella species, or ambassadors, through which we can get the public support and help for protection of species that are important for the preservation on biodiversity too, and they are not that visible or appreciated yet. That's why we decided to become again the part of this ambassador species program member and active member. And that's why we decided to join the global polar bear program. Because, you know, in the past, with a little bit of luck and lots of work, Zoo Brno has managed to enrich the European zoo bird with 5 polar bear cubs, which they now live all over the European zoos. But Then we discovered that the condition of the polar bear enclosure in Brno Zoo did not for long fulfill the standards we want for animals in our care. We decided to join the program without the possibility to really do it, to realize it, because we don't want to keep the animals in these conditions. And that's why we launched the campaign We Stand with Polar Bears in 2024 with the aim to create the environment where these giant animals can feel good. Okay, we called it campaign. We actually didn't realize what's ahead of us. We started with just simple statement, everyone knows someone. But it was not enough, and the steps, one step led to another. We just realized that the best way would be to have 2 enclosures for polar bears in Brno Zoo. So the first step was to modify the existing brown bear enclosure inhabited by 1 female of brown bear, which was sent to the Děčín Zoo. And then we collected all the facts, we got the support from EASA, we made some meetings, we took many photographs, we prepared presentations, we addressed the Brno municipality, we addressed the Brno institutions, individual donors, new photos, new pictures, new presentations, and meetings, and then we met OpenSSL. And the fundamental change occurred. And the key factors of which were mutual respect, honest and very open communication, and great will to solve the problems constructively. And it gradually led to build the trust. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah, these are the conditions under which the good relationship is formed. And without a relationship, there is not a good partnership, right? And also, let's not forget about lots of joy and fun, as always, when animals are involved. Even though it was raining cats and dogs during the grand opening of the reconstructed enclosure, we made up for it at the next event, and we are far from done. OpenSSL, as our supporter in reconstruction of the polar bear enclosure, is our partner, and it is and it will be with us in every event we will organize in zoo. And wherever and whenever possible, because OpenSSL has become a true member of our pack. And I must say, partnership is not business, but it is good for business. We opened the enclosure in July, and the number of visitors in August increased by 16,000 comparing to the previous year. And the increased interest has persisted since that. You can see the curve, which shows our social media views over the course of 1 month after the opening of the modified bird enclosure and announcement of our partner. And that's around, and listen carefully, it's around 3.4 million of users. You can also see the comparison of 2 posts when our polar bears Anna and Elsa arrived in the zoo. The posts reach, including the interactions, and in total there were almost 70 mentioned in media, from which 8 were in TV news, 14 in radio news, and many of them also not only in the newspapers, but also in their social media and online platforms. There is 300,000 visitors annually passing through the gate of the Brno Zoo. And I can see it not only as potential conservationists, but also as potential clients and customers. And where there is shared values, will, and trust, there is a path for me for good business and also for wildlife conservation. I wanted to end this as wittily as possible because I really feel a little bit different planet here with you. But again, like many times in my life, something happened recently, and this pushed me in a different direction. I'm sure many of you heard the sad news about the passing of Dr. Jane Goodall recently. It feels like, for me personally, it feels like a bright light has gone in this world. I feel it as a planetary loss. Some people leave footprints that never fade, and Jane Goodall was something like that for me. She is known as a scientist for her groundbreaking work with chimpanzees that showed and reshaped our view of animals as beings with emotions, intelligence, and connections that mirror our own. And she spent 60 decades traveling the world, explaining that every individual matters, every step counts, and that is only together how we can make a difference. I'm sure there is also a way to honor her, carrying that light, that hope forward. For me, her legacy is clear, that natural world is not somewhere out there. We are the natural world. And I don't want to sit with my granddaughter, telling her story about polar bears sometimes existing, living on this planet. I want her and her children, her grandchildren, and your grandchildren to live in a world with bears, with tigers, with eagles, with turtles, and also, why not, with snakes. And I think you do your business, you do what you can do best, and you can just help us to do what we do for all of us. We can not only protect data, we can together protect all living creatures. Let's fight extinction together. We are one pack. Thank you for your attention.